Sampling method. So which sampling method are we going to use? First, we have simple random sampling, which is every element has an equal chance of being selected. And then we have systematic sampling. That is when there is a fixed interval. So what does that mean? For example, we need to pick every fourth element. Finally, we have stratified sampling, and that is when different categories are present. And we want to select elements from each of these categories. Let's go through an example. Select a sample size of 500 from 3,000 employees by simple random sampling. So first, we need to assign a number to each employee. For example, if we have Tom to be the first one, we'll say 1 next to Tom, and Sue as the second one, and we put a 2 beside Sue, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 3,000 because we have 3,000 employees. Then we are given a random number table, like this one. And we choose every 4 digits. And why is it 4? Because population, we have 3,000 here, and it has 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what do I mean by choosing every 4 digits? We go 4, 9, 2, 8. That's 4 digits, so we write that down. And then the next one, 0, 8, 8, 9. So 4 digits. And then the next one, 2, 4, 3, 5. So 4 digits, and so on and so forth. We need to eliminate the repetition, and we need to eliminate the out of range. So for example, 4928 is out of range because we only have up to 3,000. So we discard this. 0889 is within the range. It's from 0 to 3,000. So it's all good. 2435, we keep it because it is between 0 to 3,000. Once again, 7790, that is out of range. That is way beyond 3,000. So we discard. We don't want it. So we go on and on and on and on. And in here, unfortunately, I do not have an example of repetitive. So it's pretty easy. For example, if we see 0889 again somewhere here, then we eliminate, we discard, because we counted once already. So that would be repetition and out of range. So we continue to do this until we get 500 people because it says 500 in here. We want a sample size of 500. So for example, if they want 400 instead of 500, then we stop at 400. So this number depends on the question. And that would be random sampling method. And now let's move on to systematic. So we do exactly the same thing, and we have this extra piece of information given to us, where the starting number is a 4. So first, same thing, we assign a number to each employee. Again, Tom, if we have Tom first, then we put a 1, Sue second, then we have 2, and so on and so forth, all the way to 3,000. Now, we need to find K, which is the ratio. And K, the formula for that would be population size over sample size. Population is everyone, so we have 3,000. And sample size is how many people we're choosing from the population. So that would be 3,000 over 500. And this will be 6. So K equals to 6. Then we begin with a starting number. Usually it is given to us. In this case, it is a 4. Finally, we add the K value to the starting number until you get 500 people. So the starting number is a 4, and we add K, which is 6, and then we get 10. And then the next one, 10 u plus 6, and then 16. 16 plus 6 again, you get 22. So basically it is A plus K equals to a number, and that number plus K again, and then that number plus K again and again and again until we get 500 numbers. So another one, 22 plus 6, 28. And to write it out nicely, we go 4 plus 10, or 4, comma 10, comma 16, comma 22, comma 28, just like that. All the way to 500 numbers. And this will be systematic sampling method. Finally, stratified sample, and same thing as before, but this time we need 600 to be managers and 2,400 are junior staffs. So what do we do here? We need to determine the categories that we have. So we have the 2 categories from the employees, managers and junior staffs. So we write down managers and staff, junior. Then we need to find a proportion of each categories. So we have manager and junior. But before we do that, we need to determine the ratio. And how do we determine the ratio? That would be 600 managers over the total employees. And then for junior staff, we have 2,400 junior staff over the total amount of employees, 3,000. Then to find a proportion of the manager and the proportion of staff, we go 500 is the sample size that we need, times the ratio to get the proportion of manager. Same thing for the junior staff. So 500 times the ratio of junior staff, then we get the amount of junior staff. If you were to add 100 to 400, you get the total amount of the sample size. And this will be stratified sampling.